and welcome to Fraggle Talk Classic, the unofficial Fraggle Rock podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. My name is Beth, and I am rewatching for the millionth time.
My name is Julia, and I'm rewatching for the first time in 10 years.
My name is Adam, and I'm watching for the first time ever.
And we have our first guest with us today.
Very exciting.
Who are you, special guest?
Oh, hey, it's Anthony Strand. I'm another Tough Pigs person. I co-host a different podcast where we talk about a different Muppet thing. It's called Moving Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast. So I'm thrilled to talk about Fraggle Rock instead, for once, because I love it.
We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for inviting me on.
I also just want to say, great name for a podcast. Literally every time Beth has said the name of your podcast out loud, in my brain it goes, chugadum, footloose and fancy free, every time.
As it should.
That's the goal. That's what we want.
Anthony, were you excited to get to watch something like in full and not just a 2-minute segment to talk about?
Yeah, well, it was weird because after the Doc and Sprocket segment ended, I was just like, oh, I got to keep going. I got to keep taking notes.
Gotta get back in the habit, yeah.
Yeah, today we are talking about episode 7 of season 1 called I Want to Be You.
I really liked this episode.
Yeah, it's sweet. It's a good one.
Also, can I jump in real quick at the Doc and Sprocket intro?
Yes.
As our listener will know, I have not been a big fan of Doc. Just in general, I get why he's written, I get the whole point of it, but just like as a person, I've been like, I got emotional whiplash from going from being not a fan of him to immediately resonating as soon as he said the line, "We got the invitation to the annual costume party. It's tonight. Let's think of a reason not to go." I was like, same, dude. 100%.
It's incredibly relatable to just be like, I can't wait to figure out a reason that I want to stay in. But also it's buck wild that they got the invitation in the mail and that the party was that night. Like they
that same day.
Yeah, like they didn't get it the week before. Yeah. Not good timing on the party's planning.
My headcanon is that it was in a pile of mail that he just now got to.
That's makes a lot of sense for his character.
Oh, that's also relatable. So we should say that this invitation is, we learned in episode 2 that Doc belongs to the North American Society of Tinkerers. And he doesn't give the full title, he just says, we've got an invitation to the Society's annual costume party. And he says we, and we learned that they've, gone together in previous years, that Doc and Sprocket have had, essentially a couple's costume each year that they've gone.
Which also means, really sweet.
One,
yeah, it's the best. It's the best.
This is a party that allows dogs.
Yup.
And 2, I want to be in this club and go to this party. Like, a group of nerds making stuff is fun enough on its own. But when the nerds who make stuff throw an annual costume party, those costumes are gonna be lit. And there will be dogs in costumes.
And people bring their dogs and dress up their dogs. And, it seems like Doc is really concerned with them having a costume where no one's gonna know that it's them. Which is wild.
Which... Also same.
It seems like Doc thinks it's like the party from Mask of the Red Death or something. We're not supposed to recognize each other. It's weird. But we then get to see Gobo in a Scarlet Pimpernel hat.
Yes.
And
so good.
It's so good. It's such a good look for him. And I kind of wish he had kept it on for the rest of the series. Right?
Which... For the hat, I specifically wrote down, you have introduced an aggressively fashionable hat into the tame Pacific Northwestern fashion-style world of the Fraggles. This is going to be like introducing an invasive species into a biome with no natural defenses for it. And then don't do anything with it, and I was very sad. Oh, yeah. So one, we get cowboy, which is a great line, because he's like, we were a cowboy. I was a terrible horse. And I was like, okay, that's funny. That's genuinely funny. That made me laugh.
Yeah.
And then we find out that they went as he thinks Sprocket says wolf, and they went as Little Red Riding Hood, which again, more respect for Doc this episode. If you're an older gentleman and you will dress as Little Red Riding Hood so your dog can be the wolf, respect, dude. Heck with gender norms.
Yeah, it's great. That's what I was gonna say. It's a bummer that we don't get to see Doc in his cloak for Little Red Riding Hood.
Yes.
Because I have to imagine Sprocket was just being himself with sharp teeth in or something. Right? His wolf costume, he's already vaguely wolfish. He's like a gray dog.
Maybe he had to spike up his ears with hair gel so that they stood up pointy instead of floppy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Gobo, instead of taking off the hat, goes right back into Fraggle Rock wearing it, and Red yelps in surprise.
Which is hilarious to me because it's just Gobo wearing a hat. Gobo wears hats all the time. Like, she shouldn't be that surprised to see her friend Gobo wearing a stylish hat. But
it's just so stylish.
And it's also very large. It, like, covers his entire
it's larger
head.
than his normal hats.
Yeah.
True.
I'm just saying, if I opened the door and my best friend was wearing a sombrero with a peacock feather that was big enough that it came down to their shoulders, I'd be, like, a little startled. Like, a little bit.
Yeah, fair.
So Red starts trying to tell Gobo about this slide stunt that she invented, and he keeps ignoring her, essentially. Mm-hmm. And then he does this, I don't know whether to call it a joke or a prank. Mm-hmm. He tells her, cover your eyes, and then he says, dark, isn't it?
And then he walks off, doesn't he?
Yeah, he just walks off.
Right? Like, he's just like, hey, look at me, I'm Gobo, I'm doing this bit, and it's so funny, even though it's nothing. You know, it's very, like...
No, I agree. On here, I call him a jerk. In my notes, I use a different word that has come up multiple times, where he's, isn't always the most sensitive of friend to all the other Fraggles.
No, and especially early on. Like,
Yes.
like here, season 1, like, which on the one hand, I kind of admire just the fact that all of the Fraggles have such very real flaws.
Yeah.
None of them are, like, the Smurfs or something. I don't know. It feels intentional that they're all very multidimensional, which often means that they have, like, negative behaviors that are off-putting.
Yeah.
But somehow they make it work.
It's the kind of thing that I tend to look for in shows in general. Like, if you're willing to start off with a flawed protagonist and then allow growth to happen almost in real time, it's not an easy thing to do, especially in television where everything wants there to be, like, an arc within 20 minutes and then you're done.
Right. Well, and especially in a children's show, I think. Especially in the 80s. Like...
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was going to say, I sound like a broken record, but, like, the best example that comes to mind, in my mind at least, is Adventure Time. Because you have characters who start off with some really serious flaws that are just sort of depicted, and then you get to watch them kind of grapple with that over the course of, like, 10 seasons.
Right.
And seeing that here has been really refreshing.
Well, and I think, like, that's a great example. Other ones that come to mind are... like, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yup.
Various characters there.
Yeah.
I mean, especially Zuko, I would say. But, like, Toph starts off kind of pushy, But, like, Steven Universe, Gargoyles.
Gargoyles. Oh, my God. That totally fits.
Right.
I gotta go watch that again.
It's the best. It's on Disney Plus now. All 3 seasons, even the bad one, are on Disney Plus. But Fraggle Rock is, like, kind of the first one. Like, this is in 1983.
Wow.
And before this, the most complicated character on children's television was Oscar the Grouch, I think. who was only complicated in the sense that everything's bad and he hates everything. Like...
Yeah, just different than any... Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oscar the Grouch over Gonzo?
Well, but so this is me being like a total Muppet nerd. I don't consider the Muppet Show to be a children's program. Excuse me, that's a primetime family show, whatever. But yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously the Muppet Show characters are more complicated than the Sesame Street ones overall. But Fraggle Rock somehow makes its characters feel more three-dimensional and alive than either of those shows, I think. And I love them both, obviously. I, again, host a podcast about Muppet Movie. But there's just something special about the writing on Fraggle Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
And so I want to do a bit of compare and contrast with Back to the Rock without giving any spoilers.
Because I have not seen it.
Yeah, I'll say that, a little bit later we get another, jerky line from Gobo. Red says, "Oh, I'm not too good at poems, but sliding is my specialty." And then she falls, and Gobo says, "Actually, falling on your face is your specialty." And it made me remember how prevalent it was in 80s humor for characters who supposedly, love and care about each other to just say mean things to each other for the sake of quote-unquote humor. My favorite example, of course, is the Golden Girls. Like, it's hilarious and holds up really well for a lot of things, but not for all things. Like, they're just constantly mean to each other. And I will say that Back to the Rock has the same sort of character growth, both, within individual episodes and over the course of the series. And yet that meanness is gone. Their friendships are genuine it's like aspirational friendships of like, hey, what if your friends and you were all nice to each other? What a concept. Which doesn't mean that they're always doing the right things and not like unintentionally hurting each other sometimes. But no one's gonna say something like falling on your face is your specialty in Back to the Rock.
Yeah, it is fascinating how ingrained in culture just being mean to your friends is. And like, as someone who works with kids on a regular basis and gets to see the ramifications of that, it's rough. It's really rough. Because kids adopt it without realizing that they're adopting it, and then they're mean to their friends, and it starts fights without kids realizing why they are fighting. Oh, I was just going to say, we cut to Mokey writing a poem, and she's trying to come up with a rhyme for gurgles, which, one, boy howdy, I get it, but also burgles. Burgles is right there as, like, the noun of what a burglar does.
Oh, yeah.
It works.
Right.
And she goes with Wurgles, doesn't she?
She goes with, like, unfurgles, which is like unfurls with a goal in it, which is cute.
This is an amazing poem just for that last line. So the full poem is, little radish by a tree, growing reddish silently. Reddish radish, brook that gurgles, garden path where life unfurgles.
That's right.
And I just love that line so much. And I'm not entirely sure why.
Play.
It's charming.
Play being inserted into a attempt to capture a sacred, beautiful, small Miyazakian moment.
There you go.
Yeah.
That it can be absurd and beautiful at the same time.
Darn tootin'. Red keeps being like, Gobo, can we do this like slide? And Gobo keeps being like, he like doesn't even interact. And then he keeps being like, later. And I have, Gobo, just tell Red you're scared and you don't want to do it. You're rejecting her emotional bids and activating your insecurities. Like, dude, come on.
So that already has Red feeling a little rejected. And then Boober and Wembley come along to hear the poem, and everyone is admiring it. We get this wonderful line from Boober.
Yes.
Is it an elegy to plague and pestilence?
Love that.
Which is a great line, but honestly, what I like even better is Wembley saying pestilence quietly after he says it. Like, it's such a perfect example of why the Boober and Wembley team is my favorite thing about this show.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, I'm a poet, and
yes.
Let me tell you, friends aren't that eager to hear your poetry unless you're like, let me read it to you, please, or you trick them into coming to an open mic or a poetry slam. They're all like so hook, line, and sinker on this poem for people who aren't, or Fraggles who aren't also poets, and I was like, this feels very nice, but also not my experience as a poet. Yeah.
That's what's so nice about Fraggle Rock as a fantasy world, though. Is that
true?
Like, this episode is explicitly about how all the popular kids want to go to a poetry reading instead of watching sports.
That's true. And we did just do, I think 2 episodes back was the 30-minute work week. We have already seen like the idealized like community that they're living in. And so in this community, they highly value art, which I do very much appreciate. It is nice to see.
I want to hear your poems. I've said that before.
Aww.
They're so dope. Like, last night, literally, I went out to an in-person poetry slam that Julia not only read at, but was, like, helping organize as this fundraiser. And it was specifically nerd-themed. So all of the poems read by these different poets were about, like, we got, D&D and Magic the Gathering, and one was just about math. And the whole thing was so
awesome,
glorious.
Yes, it was. And a lot of people came out and it was really nice. So it wasn't me saying that there aren't people that aren't like, I gotta go hear some art, I gotta go hear some poems. Because those people definitely do exist and they show up to events, which as an organizer I very much appreciate. It's more the act of like I don't know, if I was to be around like my friends who aren't poets, and for me to be like, I just wrote this poem, and then for everyone to just like gather around me being like, oh, read it to us, which also speaking as a poet, if that happened, I would be like, no, I don't want to read it to you, please go away. It's too intimate to just like read a poem to like 4 random friends.
Let me draft it first.
Yeah, let me go do like a million edits before you can like even look at it. Then you can read it and I'll just leave the room while you're reading it. Yeah.
So Red has a moment of like being really sad and feeling left out. And then, speaking of utopian societies, so she walks away and there's just a Fraggle jamming out on a flute. And so she starts freestyle processing her emotions, and the Fraggle just keeps going.
Yep.
And that's the kind of society I want to live in, where like she just like, again, just somebody's jamming on a flute, someone else just comes up and starts freestyle processing their emotions, and the flautist is like, yeah, you go, keep going, and then just keeps jamming. Like, that sounds so good.
100%. Mm-hmm. So yes, Red has this very sad and beautiful song called Dreaming of Someone. It's all about, wishing she could be like Mokey.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my favorite Fraggle Rock songs. I asked to be on this episode, and this song is truly the reason why. Like, I think it's one of the most gorgeous things in the entire show. Like, what a beautiful, heartbreaking performance from Karen Prell. Mm-hmm. Of course. And just some of Dennis Lee's loveliest lyrics, I think. Dreaming of someone as gentle as the dew, graceful as a someone can be. But also, like, who can't relate to how I wish I could change myself, change to somebody new, right? Because, like, that's the curse of being alive, is that you have to be the same person your whole life.
Boy, howdy.
Yeah, that's such a real feeling that everyone at some point or another has wished that they could change, or like you could be your friend, or just like you're not feeling comfortable in your own body and your own sense of self. And yeah, I think that it strikes that chord really well.
Especially wanting to be that person that everyone else is excited to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. Like, boy, howdy, I have wanted to be that person for most of my life.
Sure.
Therapy helps, though. I also just, a quick technical note on the songwriting, they rhyme change myself with exchange myself, and that shouldn't work, but it does. Mm-hmm.
And then with rearrange myself later, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's and that's all internal rhyme. That's all within the stanza, and it's one of those songs that's really slick and really elegant, and it just makes me as a songwriter mad, which is the best compliment that I can pay to a song.
Sure. Yeah.
I get it. I especially love the second verse where she says, dreaming of making a garden in my mind where poems grow like leaves on a tree. And it's like, yeah, even when you are a poet, doesn't come that easy. That's not how it works.
Well, and that speaks to like the underlying mentality of wanting to be someone else, is like, yeah, it looks so easy from the outside,
but it's often not. I did also, Beth, write, that's not how poems work, Red. a little bit more work. Also, in this song, there's just one shot of like Mokey in this like white dress and the other Fraggles around her in the dream sequence. But it only happens once for a short amount of time, and I was like, well, surely they're going to use this shot again, and then they don't. Right. Which is amazing.
In my notes, I called it Red's fantasy image of Mokey as a Roman goddess.
Yes.
Yep.
I said she was channeling her inner Florence Welch from Florence and the Machine.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Florence Welch was about 9 years old when this came out, something like that.
Probably something like that, yeah.
She was surely influenced by wanting to be Mokey as well.
Just this one episode, she was like, this is what I'm going to grow up to. That'll be my entire aesthetic. Just a little bit more intense.
Oh, she was not born yet. She's younger than I think she is.
Oh, dang.
She was born in 1986, apparently.
Wow.
There you go.
I get angry when people younger than me are so accomplished.
I know, same. Agreed.
I feel that way whenever I see anything Jacob Collier has done ever.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
I'll send you. He's one of those, he was like raised by two professional music nerds, and so like he speaks music like it's a verbal language and is just aggressively talented in the most creative ways. And I watch his stuff and I'm like, this is amazing. And then I'm like, why do I try? I should be an accountant.
Oh.
Anyways, on that very thematically accurate note.
Bingo.
Red goes to see the trash heap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut to Philo and Gunge pulling the same "dark, isn't it?" thing on Marjory.
Which I didn't laugh at the first time, but I did the second time.
Well, because Marjory, like, laughs as well. Like, the first time when Gobo does it, it feels so mean, and this time, it's like she's in on it, and they're having a good time together, and so it is a lot more pleasant.
It's like they're showing it off to her, like, oh, here's this thing that maybe you haven't heard. We can share it with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And just in general, I think Marjory and Philo and Gunge have probably a healthier relationship than Red and Gobo currently do.
Real. Very real.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So Red starts to tell what her problem is, but when she mentions Mokey's poems, then the trash heap is like, oh, I always wanted to be a poet, and she starts trying to write her own poem.
Mm-hmm.
But first she says, your friend sounds like such a good Fraggle. So, it's like twisting the knife. It's just like, too much.
When even your cultural demigod figure also admires your cool friend?
Right.
It's a kick to the gut. Yeah.
She does end up writing a delightful poem, which is, garbage is brown, compost is gray, junk is foul, and so are they. Gesturing to Philo and Gunge.
And they're so flattered. They're so happy.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, they do have a nice relationship. But this is, like, of the times we've seen Marjory, this is definitely up there for, like, the most unhelpful that she's been so far.
Right. Yeah.
So
I was
on
going
a
to
previous
ask.
episode, we had speculated about. So one of them, Philo or Gunge, says like, "Oh no, this must be one of her good days," and so we were speculating on like, "Oh, what are her bad days like?"
It's this.
And I think we found one.
This is one of them, yeah.
Her getting distracted by her own freestyle poetry.
Yeah, because Red just wanders off, and then she's like, "Oh, well, now what did that little Fraggle want?" And so she just makes Red's problem worse instead of better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks for nothing, Marjory.
Yeah. From there we cut to Mokey painting, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, Mokey is painting and she's absentmindedly humming the Thimble Beetle song, which I really like that. It's such a great way to introduce it, and it's such a good Mokey moment.
I had not clocked that she was humming that motif. That's awesome. Thank you, Anthony.
Sure, yeah. So we can talk about this later, but that song is on the first Fraggle Rock record, which I owned as a kid,
Nice.
and was like my primary source of Fraggle Rock content. So any song that's on that record, if I hear the melody, it's like, oh yeah, there it is. You know, whereas like other songs I probably wouldn't notice as easily. But
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're watching it for the first time, you don't know that it's going to be a song that hasn't happened yet.
Right, exactly.
It's really clever use of the, yeah, it's just really clever to set it up like that. That's so cool. Oh, heck yeah.
So we get this wonderful puppetry moment where Mokey is painting on one easel with, you know, her hand and a paintbrush, and on a second easel with her tail.
Yeah. That
Very
roll.
talented. Yeah.
That was really cool puppetry stuff. I don't know if it's just juxtaposing this with the preachification of Convincing John, and we can cut this if this isn't the vibe. Did anybody else get, like, really strong George Bush painting pictures of Iraq soldiers vibes from that?
No.
Because she, like, absolutely screwed over the doozers and then had to stop and be like, oh, I made a big mistake. And now she's like, oh, I'm painting a picture of you. And I'm like,
I don't know what I thought you were going to say, but it wasn't that.
I think don't cut that. I think put that in the advertisements for this podcast.
That's the selling
that's my
point for this
opinion.
podcast. Bringing up George.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. Now that's what I'm going to think about.
We're pushing it to see how far Henson will let us go before they're like, you can't use our theme music anymore.
this whole thing is a societal experiment. Yep.
find the boundaries. Yeah.
I think call this episode Mokey is George W. Bush. I think that's the title of it.
Yeah.
We need a question mark at the end. Mokey is George W.
George
Bush?
W. Bush?
And then in parentheses, not clickbait.
It would be the most listened to episode of this podcast, hands down. We'd get so many people that we don't want listening to this podcast.
Oh, gosh.
Who know nothing about Fraggle Rock. And they'd be very
true.
disappointed, ultimately.
But yeah, I love moments like that, though, where you can clearly tell that, like, multiple puppeteers are involved in this.
For
and
sure.
working together to make the one living puppet thing work. It's just, it makes me very happy.
Well, Mokey is the only puppet who's got the live hands, right? Am I...
No,
There's
Of
another
the
one
main-
later
of the main
we
five
haven't met
now.
yet.
So,
Yeah.
Of the main five, yeah. Which I love that, like, there's no plot relevant point to her also painting with her tail. It's just that someone went, hey, wouldn't it be cool if?
Well,
And everyone else was like, yeah, let's do it.
it feels like, we've watched Red be like, oh, everyone likes Mokey, she's so cool with her art. And it is like driving that knife in a little deeper where it's like, not only is she great at poetry, she can paint with her hands and her tail. Mokey's the coolest. Artists are cool. Yeah, you know.
We also get a really cool shot of Boober reading through an old tome of medical, like, diseases.
Well, so first we see Red pop out
Right, yeah, fair.
with her hair down, which is surprisingly long, and wearing this beautiful drapey lilac cardigan.
Red normally wears a shirt that is closed around her entire torso. And Mokey doesn't. So it doesn't seem like Mokey's chest is exposed. But when Red wears it, it seems like Red's chest is exposed
And it feels
in a
little
way
weird.
that I find unsettling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of like, oh, public nudity. Cool, Red.
I mean, most of the Fraggles are
Right, no, I
nude except
know,
for these
like-
guys.
Yeah, it shouldn't, like, I understand that. That's what Mokey wears every episode. But
Yeah.
there's just something about it not being her normal costume that,
Yeah. It's like if you suddenly saw Gobo shirtless, you'd be like, what? What?
right,
Okay.
exactly.
And I love that she decides, like, and now I've got to do the voice. And she starts trying to talk like Mokey. And I just love it when Muppet performers get to imitate each other.
Right, well, and I'm sure you know this, Beth. You probably know this too, Julia, but you know the story Karen Prell tells about that.
Oh,
That
yes.
she wanted to play Mokey originally.
Oh, word?
Yeah, and there's...
I don't know the story. Would you tell it?
Oh, sure. Okay. So when they were planning the series, they tried it both ways, and there is rehearsal footage of Karen as Mokey and Kathy as Red. Like that exists. It's in down at Fraggle Rock. Is that right? Or it's on the DVD extras anyway. Like I know it's out there.
One of the extras,
We've
yeah.
seen it. Yeah.
I would love to do a bonus episode about that someday.
Those extras are so great, and
Yeah.
having Jerry Jewell was around, like man, what a gift. But they tried it both ways, and the producers, whoever, Jocelyn Stevenson or Jerry Jewell or Duncan Kenworthy or whoever, decided that Karen was going to be Red and Kathy was going to be Mokey. And Karen was put out. She wanted to be Mokey because she's an artist. You know, she felt like she could relate to Mokey more. And she felt like Red was a character she didn't understand. And she has talked in interviews about how this episode, where she had to play Red trying to be Mokey, was when Red clicked for her. Was when she realized that, like, the thing she's doing in this one, as Red trying to be Mokey, doesn't work. Like, Red needs to be Red, and she needs to play her that way, you know?
That's really sweet.
Yeah, which is like it's heartwarming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
Yeah. So Muppet Wiki says that at Muppet Fest, Karen Prell was telling this story, and she said that was the great thing about Jim. He saw the potential in you that sometimes you didn't see in yourself.
Yeah. Because she's perfect. I mean, like,
yeah.
I don't think it's a spoiler to say that Karen Prell still plays Red on Back to the Rock.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she seems exactly the same. It's like she stepped out of 1984. You know, like
It's incredible.
That's amazing.
it's like a character that has become, I don't know about her entire legacy, but like certainly it's a character who's clearly so dear to her heart, and she's so
Yeah.
protective of.
Yeah, she loves that character, yeah.
I had one more thing I wanted to touch on with the song.
Yeah.
It makes me so incredibly happy that she's clearly not a trained singer. Like,
Sure.
One of the things that is absolutely maddening for me about especially Disney movies is, like, I love the songs and they're very pretty, but kids will sing them and be like, I don't sound as good as Idina Menzel. And, like, of course you don't. You are a child trying to sing the same voice as a trained singer. But letting her sound like just a person who is singing makes the song that much more accessible and that much more grounded to any kid who is watching it.
Wow. I never thought about that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and that's kind of true of a lot of Muppet stuff in general. You know, Frank Oz has talked about how he doesn't consider himself to be a good singer, but like he can sing as the characters, and that's good enough. You know that Fozzie doesn't need to be a good singer or whatever, and it's true here too. Yeah.
Yeah. With the exception of Jerry Nelson, I would say that I wouldn't consider, because Jerry had like a whole other career as a singer.
I was gonna say I think Richard's real good too, though. Richard Hunt.
Oh, that's true.
I think he has a lovely voice.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point. But I guess like the vast majority of them, like I think that I like all of their voices, obviously, because I revisit the music and there's a level of comfort there for me. But yeah, you don't think of them, with the exception of a couple, as trained singers, which could be really nice if you're, I don't know, a small kid and you want to sing along.
Right.
Or, I mean, honestly, I'm a 30-year-old man, and listening to it, I was like, yeah, this is what it sounds like when an actual character is trying to process their feelings. There's a genuineness to it. You know, we like listening to the trained singer, but we relate emotionally to the blues singer whose voice cracks a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyways.
So I have one little fact from the Muppet Wiki page on Karen Prell that doesn't fit thematically anywhere, but I just need to say it anyway.
Welcome to Non Sequitur Facts from the Wiki. Bum, bum, bum.
So Karen Prell has, she's been with the Jim Henson Company since 1979, so like 40 plus years. She was puppeteering everyone's favorite, the Worm, in Labyrinth. And the what do we call her? Like the junk lady.
The junk lady, yep.
Yep. So apparently, during Labyrinth filming, she became romantically involved with future husband, Mike Quinn, as they made each other's goblins flirt during lulls in shooting.
Wait, is she married to Mike Quinn?
Not currently. They used to be married.
Okay. I didn't know that, though, so that's
sure, yeah.
Just new news for Julia, which is cool.
Right. Well, they were married when they both worked at Pixar. Like during that time, they were married. They both were animators at Pixar during like A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2 time.
That's super rad. Cool.
That's so sweet.
Isn't that just the sweetest little?
Yeah, it's adorable.
This has been Non Sequiturs with Beth from the Wiki. So we get Boober.
Yes.
Reading a tome of diseases, which I love the way he talks.
My man.
And immediately assuming he has all of them. And so in my notes, I just have Boober predicting WebMD.
Yep. I said Boober is all of us with WebMD, yeah.
Same hat, Julia, same hat.
Yep.
Oh, I love that. I didn't make that connection. So he notices Red's, quote, funny hair and weird voice. And Muppet Wiki points out that could be a set of any Fraggle.
Yeah, although him trying to figure out if his voice is weird, that's relatable.
Yeah, it is. Him just saying weird over and over to himself.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Speaking as so I host the morning announcements at my school, and I host and edit the morning announcements, and often while editing, I'm just like, really? Is that what I sound like? Do I want to release this to 900 middle schoolers? You know?
Do you get that with your podcast, though?
You know, less so, because the nerds can hear me. I don't care. You know?
It's the kids. The kids are the...
It's the kids. Mm-hmm. Like, here's the thing. The 8th graders aren't paying attention, so them I don't worry about. Mm-hmm. But I don't want the 6th graders to make fun of.
Oh.
You know?
6th graders are brutal.
They are. It's true. That's what I love about them, though.
I'm also an educator, but
they're so honest, though. That's what I love about them. Anyway, so I can relate to Boober here, is my point.
Mm-hmm. We go back to Doc and Sprocket really quickly.
Well, that's when we see Sprocket in a Gillman mask.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Is that what that is?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was.
couldn't identify it.
That's the creature from the Black Lagoon, from the Universal movie.
Oh!
Yeah.
I'm so glad movie buff Anthony is on this episode, because no one else would know that.
Thought it was just a
I
monster
love
mask.
Universal monsters. I'm crazy about them. I'm crazy about those Universal monsters.
Yeah, it's a brief little clip. You know, Doc throws a sheet over him to try to suggest he could be a ghost or a pile of laundry. Then he's like, yeah, but if you go as laundry, what would I go as? Bleach? Clothespins? And he just tells Sprocket to think of something else and keep looking, and that's all we get for that scene.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do want to see a Bleach costume.
Go to any anime con.
Oh my god. Oh, that's good.
I do have a friend who one Halloween went as a sexy tube sock.
Nice.
I respect it.
God, is this the place for this anecdote? One time in college for Rocky Horror Picture Show, I was so fed up with Sexy This and Sexy That I went to Rocky Horror Picture Show as Sexy Swedish Chef from the Muppets.
Good. Perfect.
Nice.
So we cut back to...
Good segue. Just
No, that's not getting cut. I love it too much. Okay, back to Boober trying to diagnose himself. And so he finds this disease called bacterial sufferosis, which implies that Fraggles know what bacteria are.
Mm-hmm.
It implies whoever wrote the book did. We don't know if
That's a good
Fraggle wrote
point.
the book.
That's a good point. So I was just, trying to spin off of, like, when did Fraggles discover germ theory? And was it before or after or the same time as silly creatures?
yeah. And with Boober, like, discovering this disease, one of my favorite moments of this episode is when Gobo and Wimbley come in with the postcard, and then Boober yells, "Wimbley, are you all right? Does your hair hurt?" And then they go into the postcard, and that's not acknowledged. It's just a very funny little moment.
It's a good line.
Mm-hmm.
So the postcard is, I guess, continuing in this theme of disguises and dressing up and trying to be something you're not. Because Traveling Matt is exploring a farm, and he meets a pig.
I thought my man was going to get eaten by a pig.
Uh-huh.
You were right.
That
This is
pig
a
goes like right
huge
up to
pig.
the camera, and it's like, I thought I was going to chomp him to death. No more Traveling Matt.
Terrified screaming is in fact the proper response to seeing a pig several times your size.
Right?
It's true.
Yep.
Beth, I think you were just about to say he like whips out this pig disguise just out of nowhere, and it's like it's in a Fraggle size. That's not like a human pig nose, and he just has it.
Julia, do you not just keep a pig costume on you at all times?
No, I can't say that I do.
Wow. Like, no judgment, but that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
We've all got our pig costumes.
Right. Well, it felt like such a Looney Tunes joke to me. Like, it's if it's duck season or rabbit season, Bugs and Daffy suddenly have the costumes, or whatever that they need.
That's true. Yeah. And then did anybody else clock how when Matt turns around wearing the disguise, he strikes a pose that is very similar to one Miss Piggy, I felt. Like, he does, like, the head tilt, the arms up, and, like, mouth open, and I was like, it feels like the subtlest nod to a character that's not even on this show.
I think you're right, and also we know that Dave Goelz and Frank Oz love to make fun of each other.
That is also very true.
So I think that's very plausible that Dave Goelz is like, oh, Matt has pig ears on? I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will say that just the actual costume, though, the ears and snout are so pink that they look more like Sesame Street pigs to me than Muppet Show pigs.
That's true.
Which might be the most pedantic thing I've ever said on a podcast, but it's what occurred to me in the moment. No, I'm sure
Also,
it's not.
this is a podcast that welcomes pedantry. Please continue to pedantify.
Well, that's why I was invited.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Anyways, the bright pig, the three little pigs,
Oh, you're right.
1, 2, 3, paper. Those guys, they're like much brighter pink than Miss Piggy.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. So I just wanted to say that I'm going to add this to my running list of times when silly creatures interact with Matt in a way that it's like they can see him but not see that he's a Fraggle.
Oh, he's wearing a pig costume, duh.
He's a pig.
Exactly. Like he says, the farmer was completely fooled. And the farmer just like tosses him in front of the feeding trough. So I'm like, maybe all those other times when he's interacting with silly creatures, maybe they don't see a Fraggle. Maybe they see whatever it is that their brain fills in as normal, like a fellow human.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
And this segment does end with, like, the first half of the button of it, like, very much is in reference to the rest of the episode, and then it kind of loses the trail where he says, it's always difficult being something you're not, but then it ends with, particularly in the name of science, and it's like, I don't know how much science comes into play with, like, what Red is doing with Mokey, but the first part, absolutely.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He also muses, I wonder if you can send out for food, which implies that either Matt has, during his time in outer space, learned about food delivery, or that Fraggles are just Grub Hubbing for each other on the regular.
Grub Hub does sound like a Fraggle word.
Yeah.
It does.
It really does.
Well, and it's got to be somebody's job, right? Like, there are a lot of
Exactly.
Fraggles that we don't know their 30-minute work
That's
week
what they do
job.
for 30 minutes every week.
Deliver
Bingo.
food. Yes. They make one delivery. That's the job.
Alrighty. Anything else on the Traveling Mad section? Because I have a whole breakdown of the tongue twister duet.
So just real quick in between, Boober had previously asked Wembley if his hair hurt, and now, when Wembley is snoring,
Yeah.
he says, and now your voice is weird. This is the worst case of sufferosis I've ever seen. So it's continuing that thread of Boober WebMDing himself and everyone around him.
Yeah.
Rad. So, okay. Y'all... Okay, Beth and Julia know this. Anthony, you probably have intuited it. I am a sucker for organic symbolism. I absolutely adore when you can take your symbolism and weave it out of the diegetic things within your story instead of having to grind the plot to a halt to shove the symbolism in the viewer's face.
Sure.
Looking at you, Scarlet Letter, Daniel Hawthorne.
Wait. Can I say my favorite thing from the Scarlet Letter?
Yes. Was it
Which
the
is-
end when it was over?
No, it's a terrible book. It's a terrible book, but
Oh, yeah.
it burned in my brain since sophomore year of high school is when the kids on the street see Hester and say, "Behold, verily, there is the woman of the Scarlet Letter, and of a truth, moreover, the likeness of the Scarlet Letter running along by her side. Come, therefore, and let us fling rocks at them." Which is a lot of words for that kid to say.
That's so many words for, hey, it's the village person we're shaming. Let's huck rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyways, when you say the title of that book, I'm just flashback to how tedious it was to read. Thanks.
Pivoting back to content,
Right.
I'm a huge sucker for organic symbolism, and this is one, like, such an elegant execution of it. Because one, and like this, I caught the first seeding bit, which is that, like, yeah, Mokey's a poet. She likes to play with words. She like radish, all of that sort of stuff together. Two, I hadn't clocked that they seeded this twice. Thank you, Anthony, for pointing that out. That makes this even more impressive. But we get to see Red trying to mimic Mokey. And we get to see specifically that, yeah, it is not a difficult thing to mimic someone on the surface level. But as you get deeper and deeper into the nuances of their passion and their personhood, it becomes impossible to mimic someone to that level of depth. And not only do we get to see that, we get it demonstrated lyrically and melodically in a duet that works musically.
Yeah, awesome.
Like, it's a literary device and a musical device, and it's just such an elegant piece of TV, and it makes me so happy.
I'm so glad.
I'm doing a little happy dance because I'm so happy that this is happening and you're liking the show.
Well, it's one of those things where when Beth told me the premise of the show, and obviously, like, I didn't know who you were, Adam. She was like, and our other friend has never seen the show, and I was like, oh, that's going to be interesting. I hope he likes it. And man, what a thrill to come on and hear you be like, the Thimble Beetle song is a masterpiece.
It 100% is. It might
Yeah,
be my
I
favorite
agree.
song within the context of an episode that I've seen so far. Like, that is really,
Awesome.
really elegant writing. Ugh. Also, I just love that when Red breaks down, she says, flirt with dirty otters, smack a wizard.
So in the last chunk, Mokey says, "See the little, simple, nimble Thimble Beetle's daughters doing curtsies like they oughter, as they sit and hit and spit and spat and flit and flatten flowers on a pitted, spotted stone. And Red says, see the little simple, silly, dimpled, pimpled daughters as they flirt with dirty otters, while they flit and flatten spatulas and smack a wizened brat that sat and flattened maddened hatters on a skitsy kidney stone.
Yeah.
Dennis Lee was the poet laureate of Canada. That's not a joke. He really was the poet laureate of Canada.
That's right, yeah.
I'm not surprised.
You can tell why. Yeah, he's the best.
There was a little bit of audio cut out on my end, and I thought you said Poet Lord of Canada, and I just agreed and went with it.
Yeah, of course he's
Yes.
the poet lord.
The poet laureate of Canada,
Yep.
Dennis Lee.
If he can write lines like that, I can see why. Wait, so hold on. It's smack a wizened what?
Let me see.
Because I heard smack a wizard, and I love
Me too.
that.
I heard smack a wizard. Smack a wizened brat.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. I would just say that this time around, at the very beginning of the song, I was noticing the Thimble Beetles' different reactions to Mokey and Red.
Ooh.
So when Mokey gently, reaches out and touches it, he's just kind of like, okay. And then when Red reaches out and touches it, it collapses as if she's been too rough. And then it just stays there and doesn't move as Red and Mokey wander off to continue singing. And only, right before it leaves the shot, do you see it kind of, twitch a little, oh, okay, it's not dead.
Oof.
Well, I just wanted to say that like I mentioned earlier, I mostly have heard this song more than I've seen the episode.
Yep.
And I had forgotten how tiny and intricately designed the Thimble Beetle was. It's such a cool looking puppet. And I wish I could get a good look at that guy. or that little thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Red goes off to pick radishes.
Oh, real quick.
Yes.
Anthony, earlier you were mentioning that Wembley just kind of echoing Boober,
Yeah.
Pestilence.
In this scene, he echoes different people, different
Yeah.
characters, 5 times.
Yeah, it rules. It makes me so happy.
In my headcanon, that has now moved Wembley from people pleaser to neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I love it.
Fair, yeah. But I was gonna say though, that whole scene where the Fraggles just kind of stand around and recount the plot so far, and it because season 1 of Fraggle Rock especially has often problems with slightly lumpy pacing, I think. And this is a good example of that, where it's just kind of they need it to be 25 minutes, so we better have them, like I said, stand around and say I think Red's trying to be you. I think Gobo says, I think Red's trying to be you.
He does, yeah.
To Mokey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We needed one of them to catch on and go look after Red to try and figure out what's going on.
Right.
Because up to this point, they've just been clueless.
Yeah, well, it's him,
Right.
Gobo and Mokey having this conversation about Red. Meanwhile, Boober's off at the side, spitting out theories about, sickness stuff, and then Wembley's just repeating everything everyone is saying. So, they still, yeah.
But then also, in a minute, we're going to get the Trash Heap and Philo and Gunge also just, loudly recapping the interaction they had with Red.
That's very true.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because it's just kind of we need to, I guess it's Gobo who hears it, right? Gobo overhears at that point? Yeah, so they need that.
When they go to the trash heap, it's both Gobo and Mokey.
It's the two of them.
Gobo and Mokey together,
Yeah.
right, yeah. And it's I get it, whatever. It works, it's fine. It's a little clunky, though, I think. How they're just that Mokey seems nice. What were we going to do to that other Fraggle again? What were we going to help her with? Or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely does feel a little bit padded. And it's a decent pad, but it definitely is a pad.
Yeah. And in my recollection at least, that happens less as the show goes on. I think the pacing improves in future seasons.
Yeah, and that's pretty common with shows the first season or the first half of the first season is really them just kind of trying to find their footing with the characters and how they're going to tell these stories, in so many episodes.
Sure.
So we cut to the Gorg's garden, and Junior Gorg is setting up a net-style trap to catch Fraggles.
Yeah.
I love that all of the songs that we've gotten from them have this really militaristic undertone. And there's like a drum line under it. It's a really good way to sort of signal the bluster within the culture of the Gorgs.
Yeah.
So yeah, then we have Ma Gorg coming out talking about the Festival of Gorg's Eve, and she's like training him in this elaborate bow, but that's all we get to know of Gorg's Eve. I'm like,
Right?
I was so curious.
I want to know more.
You should just write that.
That's literally what I wrote in my notes, is like, oh man, I'm gonna have to write it, aren't I?
Write a spec script.
Yeah.
Send it to Apple. Season 2.
Yeah, there's all kinds of room to explore now.
Yep.
Pitch it, man.
Well, it's gonna have to be season 3 because they just finished filming season
That's
2.
true. There you
That's
go.
true, yeah.
Fingers crossed for a season 3.
Yes.
Right. And I'm sure you've discussed early Ma Gorg.
Yeah. Well, we've mentioned.
Has her appearance finally changed, like, to her final form? Because
No.
Okay, I can't remember what her final form is because it's been so long. I do remember
it's
though.
It's much more pleasant.
That's
yeah,
fair,
it's much
but,
more
like,
pleasant. See, this looks like she's melting. Like,
Fair.
I don't.
So yeah, in the 30-minute work week, that is her first appearance and worst.
Yeah.
Oh,
Her
sure.
eyes are
And
just
sure.
like
She gets a bit of a makeover for these, for several episodes, but eventually she is going to look much less terrifying. Oh, there's Ma Gorg.
Oh God.
Anthony has changed his background to Ma Gorg.
I was trying to get her, but I didn't know it was gonna be so. I didn't know you wouldn't see her whole face.
it looks like she's gonna come and attack you.
That's definitely the intro to a horror scene.
She's like coming up behind for a surprise hug or something.
My dream, to be attacked by Ma Gorg.
To quote the rats, no comment.
What was it? We never knew you had it in you.
Yeah, we never knew you had it in you. Boys, I have everything in me.
Oh, that rules. That's so good. What a great show.
Yeah.
It's real good. I love a little bit of subtle spice.
Mm-hmm.
So this is in response to Marjory's second poem, which is Rotten Limes and Moldy Stew. Not stew, stew.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes me think of you.
Yeah, but in Gobo and Mokey talking to the trash heap, they realize that Red's most likely jealous that Gobo's giving Mokey so much more attention than he's been giving her, and that's probably why she's, imitating Mokey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gobo, to his credit, says, I should have paid more attention to her slide. I didn't realize it was so important. And I was like, yeah, my dude, like, you're finally learning to take your friends' concerns seriously, even when they look different than your own concerns. Because back in episode 2, we saw that he broke Boober's lucky walking stick and didn't care and didn't see the importance of why Boober was so upset. I was like, okay, you're finally getting it.
Subtle growth.
Yeah.
Like life.
Right? Yeah.
So then Gobo and Mokey get caught in Junior's trap. And now Red will have to learn that freeing her friends in a way that they never would have thought of, by being a talking bush telling Junior what to do. In that way, she's great just as she is.
Yeah, she has to act like Red to save them.
I also just, and it's like a small character detail, and I don't know how relevant it winds up being, but this is the first time I've genuinely really liked Junior. Like, I like him as an antagonist. I think he works really well as, like, a cultural signifier and, like, something to, like, use as a literary device. But I just love the fact that he was just like, oh, I didn't know Bushes could talk. What's up, Mr. Bush? How's it going? Like,
yeah, and then immediately after that, she pulls the, dark, isn't it, thing on him, too. And we get the now third different reaction to that same joke. And he says, well, yes, now that you mention it, Bush, it is very dark. Anything else you want me to do? Yeah. Well, also, like, later in this series, we're going to see more of Junior Gorg talking to plants.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Cool.
coming. It's happening. He gets a whole song about it.
I'm excited.
yo, psyched.
So Red tells her friends to run once they get free, Junior thinks that the bush is telling him to run, and so without opening his eyes, he stands up and takes one step and falls,
Immediately.
allowing the Fraggles to escape.
Also, just love me some good, like, full bodysuit slapstick.
Absolutely.
We definitely get more of that as the show goes on with the Gorgs. Yeah.
So I can sprinkle in some factoids from the tome now.
The tome.
The tome. That is what we were calling
Visual
Fraggle Rock,
history?
the ultimate visual
Sure,
history.
I assumed,
Yep. No,
yeah.
Anthony was on board.
Yeah.
So the puppeteers working the remote control face mechanisms and doing the voices, like, you know, those are the puppeteers that we know and love. The ones in the full body suits, they were like people who had experience in miming and clowning. And one cool note on the construction of the Gorgs is that they planned for this kind of, you know, rough and tumble, the Gorgs throwing themselves everywhere and landing on their faces. And so when they were designing it, you know, they needed to have like flexible materials that, you know, could like absorb the impact so the actors wouldn't get hurt, but also keep it light enough so that they wouldn't get overheated. And so basically you've got like, you know, a flexible cage system that on the outside, you know, you've got this furry material, and on the inside has been stuffed with tulle, the same material that, you know, ballerina tutus are made out of, which allows for like a whole bunch of fluff, but almost no weight. And it ended up being really good for the transference of movement. So, you know, if it was empty and the actors inside are moving around, that movement wouldn't transfer to the costume and it would just look like the Gorg is just standing there. But you fill it with this tulle material and that movement transfers and you get a nice shimmy.
They do. It is a very good shimmy.
Yeah.
While we're singing the praises of Rob Mills, apparently he and Richard Hunt, who did the other half of Junior Gorg, like clicked right away. He said, both Richard and I stole liberally from the likes of Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, Groucho Marx, and other greats. So, you know, they would just throw something out there like, hey, you want to try this? And you'd be like, yeah, let's do it.
And I think you can tell, too, because...
Absolutely.
Like, obviously, we talk about Richard a lot more, right? Because he's the voice, and Junior Gorg is one of his, you know, most endearing characters, in my opinion. But Rob Mills brings so much to what makes Junior endearing. Just the way you mentioned the shimmy, and just like the way that Junior dances, because you see him dance all the time.
Yeah.
And the way he moves is just this like weird, adorable thing. And that's Rob Mills, you know, that's not Richard. And I don't know that we give him credit for that. Like, you know, like we maybe should, just because we don't think about the body performers as much, because their voices don't live in our heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both so integral to the character.
Yeah.
So they give Red props for being herself.
Well, specifically for being a great bush.
Yeah, that rules.
Yeah, I was gonna say she says I make a crummy you, and they say, yeah, but you make a great bush. Instead of saying you're a great red, they compliment her on the bush.
Especially because Mokey also makes a great bush, George W. Bush, as we've established.
Hey, we love a callback.
Full circle.
Dum, bum, bum.
So then Gobo, you know, works up the nerve to try Red's slide maneuver, which you have to lift up one leg all the way to your face and hold your nose with the other hand and then slide. It looks much less death-defying when they're sitting on their bottoms than I initially thought, just standing on one foot.
Right.
Yeah. We go back to Boober and Wembley really quickly, where
Oh, yeah!
Boober is like such a hypochondriac that he's just so convinced that he's dying, and Wembley has been just mimicking everyone throughout the episode, so he's mimicking Boober, and they're both just like lying on the ground, just like feeling like they're in pain that they're not actually in. And then the second they come back and they're like, Red's back to normal, they're like, oh, I guess she's fine, so I guess we must be fine as well. And it's just such a quick turnaround and just quick wrap up.
Yeah, I love those guys.
They're great.
And once again, the best lines are given to Boober. He says, my hair is killing me, and my voice is disgusting. Oh, I'm too young to die.
Oh, buddy.
Same, dude. Same.
I was gonna say, then lastly we go back to Doc and Sprocket. Then they've finally figured out who they're gonna go dressed as, which is just each other.
And also, like, Sprocket as Doc is super cute, and Doc as Sprocket is terrifying.
It's a nightmare. It's
Oh
such
my
a
god.
nightmare.
I have it in my notes. It says, "Big mother, why do you cry?" vibes.
We only see it for like 10, 15 seconds, and then the episode is over.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing.
Right.
They were like, we're gonna just flash it at you. It's gonna be burned into your brain, and you just have to live with it for forever.
The screen's gonna go to black, and you're gonna stare at your own reflection under the words, and you're just gonna think about what you've seen. Also, the last beat is him handing Sprocket a leash.
That's right.
Which, I don't know if that was a wink and a nudge, but boy howdy.
Oh, that's good.
Well, shall we, actually, before we talk about how to make the world a little fragglier and plug our plugs, I just want to thank Anthony for coming on. This was really awesome.
Thanks for being our first guest.
Heck yeah.
Thank you so much for having me, but also it's truly an honor to be your first guest.
Aw.
That, I know other Tough Pigs friends are coming on soon.
Yep.
And I'm excited to hear the ones that are just you too, but what a thrill to be here. I'm so glad you're doing this. I'm so glad you let me join in for this one.
Anytime.
We were happy to have you.
We will definitely have you back.
There's so many more episodes.
Can't wait. Wizard of Fraggle Rock. I'll be here.
Heck yes.
Excellent. Do you have anything you want to plug? Do you want to let our listener know where they can find you on the internet?
Sure. Listener, you can sometimes find my work at toughpigs.com. I don't write for the site as much as I used to, but I do sometimes, and you can find my work there. I co-host Moving Right Along, as we said at the top, a Muppet movie podcast where we watch the Muppet movies 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. That's what we say. So listeners, I mean, Julia and Beth have both been on, you know. Adam, maybe someday if you want to come on, we'd love to have you. But
I was going to say, have you done the one where Gonzo meets his family yet?
No, Muppets from Space, no.
If you want to have me on specifically for the 2-minute bit that involves them firing him out of the ceremonial cannon, so I can give you the deeply emotional reason that as an autistic man, why that made me just like sob, and why literally it is I have a whole goddamn essay that I can and will happily add to that specific clip.
Also, you should
if you
just
want me to.
write it and we'll
Put it on Tough Pigs,
post it on Tough Pigs. You should be a Tough Pigs writer.
I love it.
Awesome.
But yeah, so you can always find me there, yakking away, talking nonsense with my buddy Ryan and a variety of delightful guests.
Excellent. Beth, where can people find you?
You can find me at Beth Anna Cook on social media. That's Anna with 2 N's. And you can find my Muppet Lyrics blog at ourmuppetmelody.com. And writing on Tough Pigs occasionally, usually about Fraggles.
You can find me at Geek Girl Grown Up on Instagram. JuliaGaskill.com is my site if you're interested in poetry, which, you know, if you liked Mokey's poetry, I was going to say maybe you'd like mine. My poetry is very different than Mokey's, so potentially not. And then I also, like Anthony, I don't write for Tough Pigs as much as I used to, but I still am on there occasionally writing about those dang good Muppets.
Good heckin' Muppets. I am not at all on social media. Do not perceive me. I do not exist. But I will soon be able to plug the singer-songwriter album that I'm going to be recording. Literally, I have a recording and mixing session set for a week from today.
Wow.
And I'm very excited about this.
Yay.
It's called Happy Proof. Because it's about depression.
Oh, relatable.
Anyways, how can we make the world a little fragglier? Beth, do you want to go first so that we can sort of set an example, and then maybe we have Anthony go next?
No, because last time I stole your guys's. I don't want to do that again.
You're not going to take mine. I bet you're not going to take mine.
I think that's the way that we can make it a little fragglier, is you're worried about stealing their stuff. Like, Red doesn't worry about it. And look you have already learned the lesson that Red spends this whole episode learning. So the world is already a little fragglier because you watched this one.
Mm-hmm. Boom. There it is.
Wow. Mic drop.
I was just going to say we could make the world a little fragglier by being more excited about poetry.
Yeah.
Personal agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And by checking WebMD.
Beth, did you have yours?
Oh, I was just going to say, pay attention to your loved one's bids for attention. And, if you see someone being upset and you don't know why, maybe dig a little deeper.
I was going to say flirt with dirty otters and smack a wizard. But I'm actually going to pivot. I'm going to pivot from my usual thing. I'm going to go sincere here. If you're jamming on your flute and your friend comes by and starts freestyle singing to process their feelings, keep jamming on your flute.
Yeah.
Support them.
All right. Thank you all for listening. Be sure to check out toughpigs.com, give us a good review, and we will see you next time down at Fraggle Talk.
Don't forget to dance your cares away.
Down at Fraggle Talk.
Fraggle Talk Classic is brought to you by toughpigs.com. Fraggle Talk art by Dave Hulteen Jr. The Fraggle Rock mark and logo, characters, and elements are trademarks of the Jim Henson Company. All rights reserved. The Fraggle Rock theme song, written by Philip Balsam and Dennis Lee, is used with permission. Special thanks to the Jim Henson Company and the entire Fraggle Rock family. For more from Tough Pigs, please find us at Tough Pigs on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, TeePublic, and Patreon. Fraggle Talk Classic is produced and edited by me, Beth Cook. Thank you to Joe Hennis, the Tough Pigs Muppet Fan Podcast executive producer. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time, down at Fraggle Talk.
But there's a great bit where there's a verb tornado that's heading straight for Nathaniel Hawthorne's works, and the person reporting it goes, "The worst thing possible could occur. This could result in a version of the Scarlet Letter where something actually happens."
Awesome.